Hello, everybody. Hello. Hope you can hear me. Welcome to ZoomZoomers for the first one of 2021. I'm just going to let everybody in as normal, so apologies if there's any bad language. The usual crowd are waiting in the wings, so I'll just let those guys in now. And I can see a few people popping up already. We've got a few guests here, of course, as well. Hopefully you can hear me. Neil, I can hear you, so hopefully you can hear me.
Okay.
Excellent. I've got Cammie, we've got Alex, we've got Near, Simon. I can see Joe's on his way, Chris. And many. How are we all doing? Simon, are you all right? What you looking like someone from the 1950s in America there?
Yes, that's exactly right. The past is better. No, it's not. I'm joking. Yeah, no, very well, thank you. Very well. Yeah, living the dream. I'm a bit late. I'm a bit rushed, but no, we're all right. We're good. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, again,
all right, mate. I'm all right. I'm all right.
Oh, what? All right. I'm a little bit late, a little bit rushed. It always surprises me. I've got it meticulously planned because obviously I need to get on here, get my green screen up, and all that kind of thing. And it's always with about 20 seconds to go, I click and go, oh, just made it. But all good. We always seem to make it on time. Sometimes you don't hear me, so at least you can hear me, and that's good. So we'll start with some introductions, if that's okay, while people are joining. So Simon, actually, while I'm talking to you, could you let us know your name and your Twitter handle, please?
Hello there. Yes, I'm Simon Browse, and imaginatively, my Twitter and social media handles are @SciBrowse.
Excellent. And Near, great to have you here again. Could you let us know your name and your Twitter handle, please?
Yeah, it's near Kahn, near_Kahn on Twitter. That's me.
That's you. Yep. I won't go to Cammie because she's just dashed off. So I'm going to go to Joe Tanner next.
Yeah, Joe Tanner at Stuff About Cars, which does what it says on the tin.
Excellent. And Cammie's back. Cammie, can you hear us? Could you let us know your name and your Twitter handle, please? I'm afraid you're on mute there, Cammie. Oh, what a fail.
No! My name's Cammie Sturch, and my Twitter handle is @Cammie Racing.
Excellent. Thank you. Neil.
Hi, I'm Neil Briscoe. You'll find me on Twitter @Neil M Briscoe, and I'm a freelance motoring journalist.
Brilliant. Thanks. Richard.
Hello, I'm Richard Gooding. I'm a freelance motoring writer and general content dogs buddy. And on Twitter, I'm @RichGoodingCom.
Thanks, Richard. Jess, nice to have you back.
Hi, I'm Jess Shanahan. I'm a motoring journalist, amongst other things. And on Twitter, I am @JetLBomb.
Excellent. And a couple of returning people here. So we'll go for Alex first of all. I've got you in my top left corner. Alex, could you let us know your name and your Twitter handle, please?
Yeah, it's Alex Goldschmidt. Twitter handle is @Goldschmidt77. Doesn't give any of my age away at all. I'm a motorsport media consultant specialising in karting and esport comms, but also doing a lot of social media and content creation these days.
Great. We'll actually have a chat to you soon about what happened this week, because I know Cammie was involved in one of your things recently. But we have another returning guest here. So Chris, could you let us know your name and your Twitter handle, please?
Hi, I'm Chris, continuous car drawing owner, Peugeot Sport Club, marketing and PR, automotive journalist, and general automotive dogs body for hire. And my Twitter handle is @ChrisHDrives.
Great. And Chris, you've been helping out with the ZoomZoomers social media. So a lot of people who have been interacting with ZoomZoomers over the last week or so has probably been actually chatting with you. How have you found it holding the reins?
Okay, I could do with you guys helping me out a bit. It's yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right. I think we'll get there. I think it's a lot for one person. So you doing it by yourself was an awful lot, and I think it's great, having me to come on board and just help you out a little bit, because I think you did an awful lot. I know it's your baby, and yeah, a lot of work.
There's always more that can be done, and I think sometimes you kind of go, okay, there's got to be a point where you go, that's enough. So yeah, it's great to have other people on board as well. We're also welcoming Alan now. So Alan, could you let us know your name and your Twitter handle, please?
Yeah, sure. I'm Alan Bradley. I'm a presenter of the Motoring Podcast, and I will remember my Twitter handle this week, which is @AJP Bradley. That's BRADLEY.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for that. We've had a few apologies. Some people might join later on. I know there's a lot of people busy behind the scenes. Ian, Ben, we may see Craig at some point as well. But this is obviously this is a delayed one from last week, because last week we were rudely interrupted by the Prime Minister of the UK, or Great Britain, and so we moved it to this week, and that meant we missed out on the birthday boy celebration. So Neil, is it still your birthday?
No, it's not. My birthday was a week ago, and thankfully it is now very much in the past and has been forgotten about.
Did you have a good birthday?
I actually had a lovely birthday, thanks. It was obviously, per force, the current situation, it was fairly quiet and low-key, but my family were unusually nice to me, and I had loads of nice food and some nice presents, so thank you for that. I'm now very old, by the way. So
you suddenly got old.
Yeah, just call me Grandpa Simpson. I'm yelling at clouds as they pass by.
Okay. And how have the last couple of weeks treated you then? Because obviously we had a Christmas special, and we were then going to be doing one at the start of January, which got shuffled along. So it's been a couple of weeks since we've spoken to each other. How's it been over the festive period for you?
It was mostly okay. I mean, yeah, it's a bit crap being shut down again and locked down, obviously, and work is suffering from that point of view, but we actually had quite a pleasant Christmas, the four of us, well, five of us if you count the dog. I finished building a Lego Land Rover.
Wow.
At long last.
If that's your green for the red greens later, I'm going to be really impressed.
It's not. I have a much more impressive green for red green, actually, which belongs to Ray. I'll give you a sneak peek of that one. That's my.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That is actually Ray's. That was his, or is his, I should say. But yeah, it was actually quite a pleasant Christmas. I just wish, like everybody else, just wish all this was over and we could get back to normal.
Yeah, indeed. And you know, it's been a while since we've all spoke to each other. And Jess, you've been very busy. I know you're always busy. But then you say that you're not busy, so it's always a confusing thing with Jess. There's lots that happens with you, but you're not necessarily always busy. But it's been a while since you've been able to get onto ZoomZoomers. So what's it been like over the last few months?
Yeah, like I guess I've been building stuff. I've made myself busy because I had just like so many things I wanted to do, and I wouldn't even know where to start in like talking about kind of everything that's happened. I think I wrote a book in the time since I last saw you guys. Another one for like my motorsport audience, and yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind, but I'm really glad to be back because I have absolutely had zero social contact with anybody.
And you had to resort to this. This is just that's what it's come to.
I'm grasping at straws here, yeah.
Yeah, you really are. So this book, obviously, we know you. A lot of people know you for the Get Paid to Race book, and off the back of that, part of the ways that you encourage people to try and fund a motorsport career is in having side hustles and side projects that they can make a bit of money from, and that's what came about with this. That's the idea behind this book, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'd written a book all about kind of motorsport sponsorship and how drivers can kind of position themselves as businesses. So they're a bit more kind of commercially viable to go out and seek those big sponsorship numbers. But with everything that kind of happened last year, there was a lot of uncertainty around sponsorship, and businesses were being a bit more careful with their money. So I thought about, there's this thing that always happens in motorsport, and people go, they're racing because they own their own business and their business pays for it. And I think, well, that's a good idea. Why don't you do that? Why don't you start a business and let your business pay for your racing? And obviously people don't just know how to do that. Some people it comes to naturally. Some people have, great ideas and it just kind of happens, but others learn the skills to be an entrepreneur and they kind of hustle their way there. And that's kind of what the book is about.
Excellent. We'll look out for that. So is it available as a physical book, or is it an online book?
Nah, just an ebook. I just thought, with everything that's going on and posting stuff was getting harder and harder, I just went ebook route only.
Great. We'll keep an eye out for that. And talking to people who haven't been here for a little while, Cammie, who's on mute at the moment. Cammie, how have you been over the last couple of months?
Lonely. Made good friends with the dog. I mean,
you've got a dog.
Well, I live in the grounds of my landlord. I live in the little house in the grounds of a big house, and my landlord is stuck in Canada, so I'm looking after the Labradoodle, and we've become very good friends.
Oh, good to hear. And you're all branded up today because you've been racing online as well, which we'll get to in a little while. But how's that all going?
Yeah, it's going really well. This was actually a birthday present from Fordzilla, so that was nice. And on the back it has
nice.
TFZ. So yeah, it's very warm for these winter months.
Yeah, it's a good time to have that then, and obviously you got the branded cap and everything there as well. So
Yeah, I'm always.
yeah, you're looking the part. You're doing really well for Fordzilla, and it's like, the reason I say we'll get onto it in a bit because obviously we've got Alex here as well, and you're racing in a championship that Alex commentates. Alex commentates on a lot of championships, but you're in one of them, and you're steadfastly sticking to the Fords, of course, because you are duty bound to do so, for better or worse. But how's it all going in that championship?
To our detriment, yeah. It's R Factor 2, and I've never used R Factor 2. And
Okay.
E-Team Brit, who are running the series, said, right, here are the cars. And I said, well, we better pick the Radical because that's the only one with any link to Ford. So we get in, and one of the pro drivers who drives for Jensen Button's team essentially went, you picked the Radical. Ooh. Oh. Yeah.
So the connection to Ford is the engine.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. But
It's a virtual engine. It's not even there, really. You know, it's.
Yeah.
I don't know if they modeled the engine in the game. So.
But I think it's accepted that it's a fairly tricky car to drive and to hustle around, especially somewhere like
very
Mount Panorama. But you mentioned there as well Jensen Button's team. So I'll switch over to Alex because it was quite a story for the championship the other day, because you did have some. Well, you always have some special guests. Team Prio, usually Seb coming along, and Alex Buncombe and co. But we had the big name come this week.
Yeah, 2009 Formula One and 2018 Super GT GT500 champion with Team Kinomitsu, Jensen Button. It literally came out of the blue, and the story was we literally got a message on the staff chat saying, yeah, Jensen wants to join, and I've already said yes, and we were like, hey, crack on. and it was really funny because later on in that week I said, if you told me a year ago I would be doing this and commentating on this man, I would not have believed you. And and it was just like, holy hell, what is going on here? And it was sort of like it just felt really, really surreal.
Yeah.
But I remember you DMing me on Twitter saying, mate, great commentary as well. And it was just like thinking, I've really got to up my A game because Jensen Button's on this bleeding feed, you know. But it was really good. We had Alex Buncombe, who's raced around Mount Panorama before, second DNF unfortunately for him in 2 respective races, and then we had Seb Prio. Obviously, the funny thing is that whenever he's behind the wheel, his dad Andy is always there, ready to do something for Insta stories, like clockwork. I had a really good chat with Ed Trevelyan Johnston, who heads up the esports side of Zancho Simsport and Rocket Esports, and had a really good chat with Seb, and he said, oh mate, you got to watch my race tomorrow night, it's like IMSA. And it's like, what time is it? He said, round about this sort of time. I said, I'll see if I can sort of catch it. And I was doing another, last week was absolutely crazy. Thursday night, I had commentary. Friday night, E-Team Brit. Saturday, I did my first ever 12-hour race with GTR 24H. And then last night, I did a double header. So I'm quite surprised that my voice is still actually functioning at this particular moment in time.
Well, it was a bit of a last-minute invite for you. So, Alex, you free tonight to pop onto the Zoomers? Because I know you're really busy at the moment. You're the busiest person in motorsport right now. Because for you, it just doesn't stop. I mean, Jess was saying about drivers are obviously having to rethink ways of going about things. But for you, commentating on both. The thing is, it's not just esports for you. This is just because there's a lot of esports going on at the moment. That's what you're concentrating on, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's not just the esports. I mean, I've been quite fortunate, even in December, to actually head over to Portugal just before everything started sort of shutting down. Yes, like people are saying, so did you have to have? I was getting questioned all the time, like DMs or WhatsApps, like saying, are you having to have a COVID test to get into the country? And it was at that particular point Portugal said, if you were coming from the UK, no. But for the event, you needed a negative PCR test within 96 hours of actually arriving at the circuit. And then coming back, I was back the day before the test. And it sounds like you're actually releasing dogs from a pound. The test and release program, as the UK government have called it,
right?
To have the, to go into quarantine for 5 days, then have a PCR test. If it comes back negative, you're fine. You can no longer, you don't need to isolate anymore. So I just, I I was quite happy with the 10 days because it was originally 14, and on the Friday night I was over in Portugal. The news came out that they were reducing it by 4 days, and I went, oh, thank goodness. I can actually spend Christmas with everybody for a bleeding change.
Oh, so it worked out that you'd have Christmas. That meant that you were able to have Christmas.
Yeah. So here at home, we've been keeping rather sort of in-house. You know, I think I did about 20,000 steps a day in Portimao over 9 days. My feet were absolutely wrecked. So it was nice to sort of like just sit down at my desk and do some other bits and pieces. I mean, and I was doing social media content. I was working with a client over there. I was also working for other clients as well. So since early October, I went full self-employed. I'm now in motorsport full time. So it's commentary, both karting and esports. It's now social media. It's now there's clients approaching me wanting me to work with them, and I'm also still doing the writing. So it's about I've got two commentaries. One tomorrow night, one the night before. I'm working with World Pro Racing based in Malta. So we're doing it remotely from our houses where we're commentating from, and they're doing all the broadcast and overlays over there in Malta. So it's been a rather busy time, but I just looked at my calendar for 2021, and even with the karting, the esports has absolutely gone biblical on me. Quite literally, there are people trying to snap me up like crazy.
Well, good to hear. Good to hear. I think you're kind of perhaps dominating that space in the way that we always hoped you would. So good to hear. We'll just welcome Craig along, because Craig, we were sort of half expecting you, not 100% sure if you're going to be able to make us. It's great to have you along. If you could let us know your name and Twitter handle, please.
Yep, I'm Craig Woollard, and I'm at Craig_Woollard, and I'm fashionably late today.
Good on you. Great to have you here. Actually, now we seem to have a bit of a full crowd, I might hand over again to Chris, because Chris has kindly offered to do the red and green questions. Do you guys all have something red and green? We know that there's obviously the Jordan 191 that made an appearance a short while ago, and I've got to get red and green, of course, as well, because if Chris is doing the questions, then I'd better grab my stuff. So, Chris, over to you.
I should just say that I'm not into like Formula One or anything. I basically haven't watched it since Senna died. So my questions are not really Formula One. They're more sort of car questions.
Yeah, there'll be a few people here who are very happy about that. Yeah. If Lewis was here, he was never a fan of the F1 stuff. But no, yeah, anything motoring related. Or if LA was here, we'd see that they're not always anything to do with cars at all. So yeah.
Okay, the Toyota Corolla sold more than any other car at around 37.5 million units. But what is the second bestseller? Is it green, the VW Golf, or red, the Ford F-Series pickup truck? Oh, very good. Everyone got it right.
Yay!
Okay. What percentage of global car sales is now SUVs? Is it green 11% or red 39%?
I'm wishing I'd revised and swatted up.
I hate to say it, guys, that's red.
Ah.
The Lamborghini Countach had wide tyres by the end of its life. But what width were the rear tyres on the first LP400? Were they green 215 section or were they red 225 section?
Jess, you know this one, don't you?
I have no clue.
The answer is green.
Wait.
Later cars had 225 fronts.
Wow.
Can we have the Formula One question?
This is nerdery at an Olympic level. This is fantastic. Yeah.
You know what the biggest thing is? I'm surprised I've pretty much got everyone right so far, and I thought I'd drop a clanger at some point.
Well, I just guessed.
It's just guesswork.
There's only 10 questions. You're all right. It's fine.
Oh, thank God for that.
The XJ220 was briefly the fastest car in the world before the McLaren F1. But where did its aerodynamic wing mirrors come from? Was it green, the Citroën CX, or was it red, the Renault 21?
I'm going green because as you were asking the question, Neil was nodding when he said Citroens.
The answer is green. Citroen wing mirrors were used on TVRs, Lotuses, Aston Martins, all in that sort of 80s, 90s kind of period.
Wow.
Citroen must have had one hell of a part spin to allow that to happen.
No expense spared.
Super aero, really aerodynamic mirrors. Okay.
But the
They were
McLaren
the
F1
marina
used-
door handles of wing mirrors.
Yeah.
McLaren F1 used them as well after.
No, it used Volkswagen Corrado once, didn't
Was
it?
it Corrado? Okay.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
Okay. How many radiators does the Bugatti Veyron have? Is it green 6 or is it red 12?
Jeremy Clarkson said about this, didn't he?
It's red. Well done, guys. Nice one.
I was going to say, Jess, you're about to sit on the fence there.
that was like, I was just going with popular consensus. Yes, everyone, I agree.
Okay, this is probably the geekiest one so far.
Oh.
A single Dodge Hellcat injector could pump enough fuel to drain an Olympic-sized swimming pool in how many days?
Oh.
Is it green, 360 days, or red, 460 days?
I'm going to guess 360 because the marketing, they could just say about a year.
All good. You're all good. Very good. The Noble M600's 600 plus brake horsepower V8 is based on the block from which car? Is it green, the Ford Explorer, or is it red, the Volvo XC90? That is red. It's a Volvo engine.
So, is that not a Yamaha engine?
It's a Yamaha engine.
V8 engine, yeah. But they-
Overlapping cylinder bores.
Did you get that one right, Jess?
Just giving us a flash.
I did, yeah.
Okay. There are 1,400 titanium bolts used in the Pagani Huayra. They cost £62 each. So how much is the total value of bolts used? Is it green, £86,600, or is it red, £67,750?
Quick math.
This is the start of the question.
I should know this, really. Well, be able to guess it at least.
This was a listening exercise.
That one is green.
It's like the polar opposite of
£86,000 for bolts. Insane. Okay. It's a racing question. Which nation has won the most WRC titles? Is it green, Finland, or is it red, France?
Oh, so the title's not the most individual winners.
Green, Finland, or red, France? And the answer is Finland, green, with 14 versus 12. Okay, not a red or green question, but which pole is the only pole to have ever polled a Formula One pole position?
This
Kubica?
one. Yeah,
Kubica.
Kubica.
It is Kubica.
The only pole I can think of.
2008 Bahrain Grand Prix for added context.
Correct.
Hey, Craig's back. Oh dear, what did you weigh at the time, Craig?
And also another bit of another bit of trivia. He's the only driver from Poland to be in both Formula One and also DTM.
Oh.
Is Craig now officially our Norm from Cheers? That as soon as he says or does anything, everyone just goes, Craig!
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that became a thing at uni for a while, but thankfully that died out, but it seems to be coming back.
I hope they were all right for everyone. I haven't, it's the first time doing this.
I think
Always
that
good.
you and LA should team up on the questions one time.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks ever so much for that, Chris.
That was
Fantastic.
awesome.
Well done, Chris. Fantastic,
Great
mate.
stuff.
Fantastic.
Nice one, buddy.
No, I left you guys with a bit of a poser on the group chat. New Year and New Year's resolutions and all that kind of thing. So obviously we expected this to be a bit closer to the start of the new year. We're halfway through January already, which is whizzing by. But I was just wondering whether you guys had any motoring-based aims or resolutions or anything like that. So I don't know if you had a chance to think about that. I'm going to go to Richard because obviously I haven't picked on Richard a lot so far in this Zoom. Have you had a chance to think about anything this year? Any goals or aims or any resolutions around cars?
Yeah, aside from the obvious one, going out would be nice.
Yeah.
Drive the Polo more, look after it more, because this year it's 20, so it needs a bit of TLC. Restart or repopulate PoloDriver.com, because it's been sadly neglected for the last 2 years, possibly, with not much content updates. And if I've said it publicly, then I've got to do it.
Yes.
We need to try and get a swivel front seat fitted on the T5 that we've got. So when we go camping, we can spin the front seat round. At the moment, because it's a converted van, it's 3 seats in the front, a 2-seat bench and a driver's seat. But we want to get a base that will spin the bench seat round, so we can face each other either in the van, or swap it out with a single seat, so you can walk through and have a swivel seat. So yeah, so nothing much really, nothing too long.
Just to create a whole new website, not a whole new website, but resurrect the website. So what was the domain for that one again? Was it
PoloDriver.com?
PoloDriver.com. And what's it all about? Just content about polos? Is it more for owners or?
Yeah, motorsport, history, news. Motorsport kind of dominated it the last 2 or 3 years. Well, certainly the last 7 years or so, because of the WRC stuff. And there's all sorts of things going on in South Africa, China, or India, all motorsport stuff. So yeah, it did become a bit of a motorsporty, very niche site, but I want to get more old model profiles on there and like that. So, but it's just time.
Of course. And what's next for Polo? Are they releasing a new one soon or anything like that?
I've heard there could be a facelift this year, so I don't know how official or unofficial that is, but numerous websites are posting spy pictures, so I'm guessing it must be coming. Which seems odd, because the car had a raft of new badges, I think, in the autumn. So I would have thought they would have done everything at once, but we'll see.
Okay, keep an eye out. And if we need to know, we'll know where to go then. PoloDriver.com. Excellent. Near, have you got any ambitions or targets for this year?
Well, I've been teasing a bit recently about this thing that we've been trying to launch for a while, and other things have been getting in the way of our launching it. So we should be able to unveil that in the spring, and I finally got to drive it last week. This is a military vehicle that we've been working on for a while. So I think I mentioned a while ago, we were originally going to be pulling the covers off basically a static version of it back in the summer, and then work on the greasy bits. So because there was no show to unveil it back in the summer, we've just been working on the greasy bits. So I finally got to drive that last week on Thursday, and it's really very good. I can't say anything else about it, but it's a off-road vehicle that's really pretty quick off-road.
Okay.
And what I was actually most surprised with, I personally drove it on this. We have like a place where we can test it, kind of like a rally raid track essentially, and that was good fun. But I was driven on tarmac on it, and that actually surprised me even more. But again, I've already said too much. But hopefully we'll be able to. Hopefully I'll be able to show you that in a few months.
Yeah, we definitely look forward to that. You've been teasing that for a little while now, so we're really intrigued about it. So,
it's from personal frustration that I've been teasing it.
At least you've seen it. I don't know what's going on, and I've got a bit of a picture of what maybe we'll see, but I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. Cool. Well, yeah, definitely look forward to that. So that's definitely going to be this year then.
I said it was definitely going to be this year. Last year.
Okay. So plan A, it will be. Okay.
That's plan
cool.
A, yeah.
Cammie, what's up? What about you for 2021? What's the goals and the aims?
Oh, two really simple ones. More YouTube content that will be animation based. I want to try and do some animations that are based around motorsport history, sort of in a bite-sized educational way that sort of looks cute and fun, sort of short videos. as well as doing more streaming and getting into more esport events. So I want to get myself a new sim rig as well, because the one I have, it's the fold out one, and it's not very comfortable for sort of long term, sort of beyond an hour. The small of your back starts to hurt a little bit, and it's not very stable because it's just a glorified deck chair. So I would like a proper GT style one.
Okay, so these
yeah,
animation things that you do, are they still going to be based around your sim racing, or are they just motorsport things? Like they say, the historic stuff. Are you going to be doing I suppose history lessons?
Yeah. So my idea for the first video that I'm writing the script for at the moment is about the history of safety in F1. Sort of because it was only this year gone that the halo sort of became more universally accepted, I think, because after Grosjean's accident, I think people were, they were silenced a bit. The critics were silenced when it was sort of criticised as all ugly and unnecessary. So I thought, well, it might be interesting to go through the history of all these safety features that were deemed unnecessary at the time, such as when Jackie Stewart pushed for seatbelts and helmets, people said that he was trying to rob the sport of sort of glamour and romance. But now none of us would think about getting into a race car without sort of a seatbelt, safety harness, and a full face crash helmet.
So does this mean you've got a little mini animated Jackie Stewart?
Not yet, but it will be the same style that the Christmas cards were done in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's
hang on,
what that was.
My green screen.
So that's what they were made for originally, with the purpose of animation in mind. It just turned into a Christmas card and like money-making scheme.
Well, yeah, I mean it's what you do. So yeah, I mean, there's any shame in making money.
It was a side hustle.
Yes, to forward your e-racing career. Okay, so let's take me on to Jess then. What goals and aims? This is probably opening a can of worms for you, Jess, but let's keep it to a few.
I prepared by just thinking,
okay,
what's like the most important one or the most interesting one, so you don't have to have the 4-hour conversation I had with one of my friends yesterday about my goals.
Okay.
So like my biggest one is, so many years ago, I had a YouTube channel where I did car reviews, like basically everyone else ever. And I stopped doing it because I kind of got bored. I didn't want to do the same thing that everyone else was doing. And I was getting like mercilessly trolled. So I just kind of stopped. It was just too much stress. But ever since then, people have been saying, when are you going to make more videos? So I've decided to kind of refocus on YouTube, as I'm not really doing anything else at the moment. So I've set myself kind of the goal for this year to make 60 videos. So I figured that's the thing I can control. Like I could set subscriber goals and all of that kind of thing, but I figured that, yeah, I can control how much work I do on it. So I'll create 60 videos and kind of see where it goes. And I've done 4 so far. So I'm well on my way.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's 11th of January now. So 4 is, you'll be done by, well, spring.
Yeah, come and relax.
Yeah. Oh, great. So in terms of like putting out content, of course, we've got Alan Bradley here, and Alan Bradley weekly puts out a fantastic show with his good friend, of course. How's that going? And have you got any big ambitions for this year?
It's good. Yeah, I'm going to pimp the Salvage Hunters Classic Cars interview with Paul Cowland from last Friday, because it was fun, because Paul's a nice guy and a mate, and that was dead easy. But other than content, and completely separate from that, I'd like to take my W124 Mercedes E-Class to Germany, because, take it back to Stuttgart. That would just be fun. In a sort of big wafty car on the Autobahn kind of way. And Johnny the Yaris is finally back 14 months after I broke him. And 9 months after he left to go to the garage. So yeah, actually do some, hopefully tax by the end of the week, him, and do some driving, and maybe a track day or 2 would be lovely.
Fantastic. Yeah, great to see the car back. So we're going to have plenty of photos and things on Instagram and such of the Yaras.
Eventually once I get the finger out. Lots still to do though, because project cars never finished. I think the other day I said right, I've spent all the money that I need to spend. £450 on Friday. So yeah, that's going well.
Ah, okay. Sounds like one of Chris Pollitt's projects.
Well, yeah. Well, the Mercedes actually is the one that's cost a bit less, and it's the ex Chris Pollitt project. So.
Oh, is that an ex Chris Pollitt one? Is it?
Yeah, it's the ex Car and Classic one, which they
Okay.
bought for £100 and then did all the hard work on. And then I bought it for more than that, but with all the hard work already done. So it's the Car of 1,000 project. It's my way of getting through lockdowns.
And if you were to take it to Stuttgart, would that be something you'd film along the way to take us all on the journey with you? Or?
I would do something to take everyone on the journey with me, and also so that it can become slightly tax deductible. But son of a tax counted. So yeah, it would be a bit of a thing. It's been a long time since we've done a podcast road trip. Since we've done the podcast road trip, and we'd like to do another one, and it just seems to give us an excuse.
Excellent, fantastic. Joe, how about you? Have you got any ambitions and plans for this year?
Well, a bit like Alan, I had a car off the road for most of last year. So for me, it's getting that car out and about and used a bit more. So that's the Pontiac. And then the Morgan, once I can get it to stop leaking clutch fluid, get that used a bit more this year and take it back to the factory and do a factory tour.
Oh, okay. So where would that be, sir?
That's at Malvern.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it's not too far away, but it'd be nice to take it back home, a bit like Alan taking his 124 to Germany.
Oh, excellent. Good stuff. Yeah, it's a great story to take these things back. I know some people were going to be, I think last I heard, there was people going to be retracing some rallying routes in a Subaru or something like that. And I love those kind of stories. So yeah, good to see. Simon, now, how about you? Because obviously cars kind of are a massive part of your passion and career and everything, and you've got plenty of the things. So what's in store for 2021?
Yeah, definitely reduce that number. That's there's a few. Can I just start just by saying a couple of thank yous, just very quickly, because they are for people that hear. Sadly, Ian can't be with us today, but he did do a fantastic drawing of one of my Cadillacs on a mug, which you can buy from Ian's Pop Band Colour store in pink handle. Oh, that's lovely. And you mentioned, obviously, we've spoken quite a few times about second strings to our bow. Finally, Cammie, I have finally framed the artwork that we were talking about over, I think it was Facebook, Roland Ratzenberger, fantastic artwork that Cammie did there. Finally framed. It's been on the do list for a long time, so thank you very much. It's absolutely fantastic. No, thank you very much.
No, thank you. I'm going to argue.
Yeah, resolutions. I definitely need to make room. The wedding cars seem to be. I think I've pretty much got the fleet about right there. But I've had some feedback that the kind of film and TV cars we've got perhaps need to change. I definitely need to make more room. Johnny Smith and I have got 3 or 4 projects on the go now that definitely need to be finished. So it's definitely finish some project cars, sell a couple of others, and then we'll talk about what's going to happen later in the year, hopefully. But yeah, so yeah, sell, finish, be productive, go forward.
Excellent.
Are you going to finish Johnny's Impala?
Don't speak of the Impala. It doesn't exist. Don't speak of that car. It doesn't exist. Yes.
Good.
Neil, how about you? What's on your plans and on the agenda for 2021?
Well, before I should also say, just with what Si was saying about Cammie. Cammie did the most, which is downstairs, so I didn't bring it up with me. The most beautiful illustration of Ray that was ordered for Christmas, and she actually sent me 2 copies. It's Ray wearing Arsenal football kit, so I sent 1 copy. I kept 1 copy, and I sent 1 copy to my dad, who's the world's biggest Arsenal fan, and he was so happy with that. And just wanted to point out basically how talented and wonderful Cammie is. But that's by the by. My resolutions for 2021. I have a kind of big-ish writing project that I want to finish off, which I started last year. Don't know quite how that's going to work out, but I'd like to at least get it done. My biggest ambition would actually be to share a car with Alan Bradley, because we've come close a couple of times and never managed it, and I suspect it would be good fun. So when we can actually get back out on launches again, that would be nice.
I did once ask you if you could just move out of the way so I could get to the coffee. But nobody had thought to actually introduce us to each other at that point.
I do tend to, that was quite a while ago, wasn't it? I do tend to stand in front of the coffee, and I apologise for that. And other than that, it's just, I have no ambitions beyond getting back out there and getting back to work properly. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, fair enough. I wonder how many times people, and the Zoomers that have taken part in these over the months have crossed paths and not even noticed it at various events and shows. It's a small world out there. I mean, the amount of times I've kind of bumped into you guys, and I tended to know you from Twitter. I mean, Jess, I think there's a few times we bumped into each other at shows and things, and yeah, there must be lots of crossed paths looking around the room here. But to go back to no, you go.
I've got one of those. So the best one of all was I posted a picture from Santa Pod about 15, 16 years ago, and then Lewis said, "Oh, I remember that day." Posted a picture, one of his pictures from Santa Pod at the same time, and I'm in the background of Lewis's photo.
Wow, there we go.
You can actually see me in the background and pick me out from the people, just because we were in the queue at Santa Pod.
That's a Twilight Zone episode waiting to happen.
Definitely.
I've got a story like that as well. We all know Chris Sharp, Racing Pride. I showed him a video that I had taken in 2005 of the inaugural A1 Grand Prix. 2005, it was sort of filmed on a potato, really grainy. But he said, I must have been sat just a few rows down from you.
Wow.
And we would never, because what's he, 6 years younger? So I was 17 at the time. He said he would have been 10 or 11. And yeah, sort of strange.
Was that a Brands Hatch?
Yeah, we were at Paddock Hill Bend. And
I was as well.
What?
Yep. In the support race, didn't Alex Brundle crash in front of us in the Formula Palm Rowdies, which was one of the support races? I don't suppose you can remember that.
We might have gone walking around the shops or something.
Right.
But I remember Italy and Lebanon
weird.
rolled their cars.
Yeah. No, it's a small world. Really a small world. Oh, I bet there's lots of that. Actually, my sister married a guy. No, didn't marry him. Long story, but we found a picture of them both at a skating rink when they were both about 8 or 9 years old, both looking at someone who was having their hair cut for charity. And it's just a picture that we took, and then we realised that both her and the guy were in this picture when they were 8 years old. Yeah, lots of stories like that. Back to the resolutions and the aims. Craig, how about you?
Yeah, bit of a sort of like a vague one, really. Obviously 2020 was a weird year and we all picked up doing different little things, and I started doing lots of different writing projects and like started up a podcast, as well pretty much everyone did during lockdown and so forth. But I just want to do a lot of what I did in 2020 again in 21, but better, just finesse where things went quite wrong in a lot of places, and try to make sure I don't repeat those mistakes this year. And I mean, hopefully if I can get back to a racetrack, being at events again would be fantastic, but I'm not holding my hopes out too much quite yet. But I mean, really it's just wanting to do everything again, make sure I've got the time to do everything, because obviously I'm back working in the day job now, whereas like throughout a lot of last year I was on furlough. So I mean, it's just making sure I've got the time to do it all, and making that time happen is not going to be the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, so the day job now, is that writing, or is that the photography archive, or a bit?
It's the archive stuff. Okay. Obviously I'm doing it all from home at the moment, but there's still plenty of stuff we can do remotely, which is good.
Yeah, that is good to know. So a bit on the spot, but Chris, I believe you've got some ambitions for 2021 that are motoring based.
Yeah, 2020 was my first year really getting into the journalism thing. I wrote a few articles for Classic Car Weekly, and I'd like to do more of that if I can. I'd like to go back to some of the things we've already talked about as well. I'd really like to meet up with Richard in his Polo GTI and Alan in the Yaris, with me in the GTI, and maybe have a bit of a hot hatch meetup. Could be quite good fun. With Cammie, I actually had a lecture from Jackie Stewart when I was doing my degree in industrial automotive design. I actually had him come in as a lecturer, and actually met him and got chatting about, we spoke about dyslexia more than anything else, because he's also dyslexic, and I was wondering how it had affected him with his career sort of outside of racing and doing books and stuff. Anything else? Oh, taking cars back to the factory. 2008, I took 27 205 GTIs back to Mulhouse to Sochaux. My father and I were leading the group because we both speak fluent French, and we had to find a hotel in Paris that had underground parking, and it was pre-sat-nav days, really. So that was interesting. 27 205 GTIs down the Champs-Élysées, round the Place de la Concorde, in convoy, loads of French people beating their horns at us. Amazing. And then back to the museum and factory and stuff. Very cool. I'd love to do it again.
That sounds brilliant. So you're obviously a key part of the Peugeot Sport Club. Is that the correct?
Yeah.
So how big is this club then? And what kind of cars do the members have? Is it just the sports car, sporty ones? Or?
It started in '84 as the Peugeot 205 Owners Club of the UK. It was started by Peugeot UK, and then in '87 it was handed over to a load of us enthusiasts to take over. And we've now got, I think it's about 1,100 members, which isn't that many, but we organise Peugeot Festival once a year, which is the largest annual gathering of Peugeots anywhere in the world, at Prescott Hill Climb in Cheltenham. We have a run what you run up the hill. We have a show and shine and concours, and we invite all the clubs from the rest of Europe to come over and join us. So we invite the French owners clubs, 405, 309, 205, all that to come over and join us. We do parade laps up Prescott for the anniversaries and models. So we had the largest gathering of 205s anywhere in the world back in 2007, I think it was. And we put on a few things. We do a few track days. We do area group meetings when we're allowed to, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
There's a magazine called Talk, which comes out quarterly, which is a good read if you're into your Peugeot stuff. And basically, we're the largest Peugeot club in the UK, and it's open to all Peugeot enthusiasts. You don't even have to own a car. Just anybody who's into their Peugeots, if they want to join the Peugeot Sport Club, it's a great group, really good group of guys and girls, and really good fun.
Really good. Do you have a rough idea of numbers of members at the moment, or?
I think it's 1,100 members at the moment, which doesn't sound very much, but it's a good little club. We had a virtual Peugeot festival this year, which I had to organise, which was interesting. Because we couldn't have the real thing, so we just got people to do videos and post up photo galleries and stuff of their cars. That was quite good. It was quite an interesting weekend because we normally have a Saturday where you can come over and camp, and it's loads of drinking and talking and stories and stuff on the Saturday night, and then the main event is on the Sunday. Well, we sort of tried to do something similar with the virtual thing. We sort of had people pretending they were turning up with their cars, chatting about their cars a little bit, and then doing the actual show and doing sort of presentations and stuff on their cars on the Sunday. It was all right. It wasn't brilliant, but we got a few people. We got a few people from France and stuff who took part as well. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, really cool, really cool. Just as a red green for everybody, is anyone here a member of an owners or an enthusiast group at the moment for motor vehicles? Joe, Simon, yes, there's a couple of people out there. Richard's having a good think. Am I part of a club?
No. Well, no. I used to run or co-run one for Polos, obviously, a few years ago. In fact, that's where the website came from. Really, I suppose I just went out on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to be a long time ago. I was part of the Anglian Mini Club, and I was one of the first 3 people in the club that ended up having the having the BMW Mini, I then ended up becoming the spokesperson for what we called the Half Series Society, and it was quite funny how this got around, because we said, well, it's half mini because it's built in Oxford, but it's owned by BMW and it's front wheel drive, so we decided to call it the Half Series Society. And we ended up doing the trip down from Ipswich in Suffolk down to Salou in Barcelona. Just about 100k south of Barcelona in the Costa Daruda. My car was the lead convoy car, and we had about another 14 like old school minis. One bloke, he had a 1992, which he'd actually done up to a 1960s Mini Cooper, and done it with the 2-tone, so the matte green with the white roof and the mini lights on it. We had an absolute whale of a time, and unfortunately we did one of them succumb to engine troubles and ended up being recovered from, I think it was just outside of Carcassonne. So we driven all the way to Salou. We got back and they went, engine's not having it, proper misfire, couldn't find out what was wrong with it, and the car returned back. And you know when they say about these stories where cars can get damaged if they're being repatriated from another country, case in point, all 4 tyres were slashed, body panels had dings in them, windscreen. It wasn't exactly the most pristine classic old school Mini, if I'm honest with you. It was like, I think it was like late, I think it was early 90s, but it had a 1275 GT lump in it. He'd properly gone to town with it. It'd been bored out a little bit more. So, I think, and we asked him 3 months later, what was the problem with it? He said, effectively the HT lead failed. The spark plug literally went into the bore and caused major terminal damage. And so he went, I've had to go back to a 998cc engine. And I went, he said, but I've still done some tuning to that. And I went, oh, some things never change.
Yeah. So you're not a member of a mini sport club anymore, or?
No. The thing was that I'd sort of I've been with it for about 2.5-3 years. So I was actually on the committee for it as well. And I think it just got to that point where I decided I didn't feel like I fitted in.
Right.
It wasn't because of the car. I just think it was just like the people. Some of them I got really, really on well with, and then there were some that were just sort of like people that will be nice to your face, and then you sort of like you find out what they've been saying, and then you just want to do either one or two things. You're either going to confront them and cause problems, or you just literally step away. And I thought the best thing for me was step away.
Yeah, fair enough. So
one of my most amusing stopped by the police stories involves an owners club. I say one of them. I have a few of these. This was years ago when I was a student in Coventry with the X19. So the long story short part is wet roundabout, going into it a little bit too quick, made it through, and all of a sudden there's blue lights behind me. So I pulled over and stopped, and 2 cops get out. And the first one is just absolutely ready to throw the book at me about just driving too fast in the rain, etc. And the other one is going around the car with the mag light, looking for problems. So I've got this guy shouting at me for a while, and finally the other one pipes. He says, "Is this a real Lido?" And I was like, "Yes." So the Lido's was the special edition, the last of the 1300 X19s from 1978 with the Lidos. This is this question: is this a real Lido? So like, yes. Says, why don't you join the club? and the other guy who's been shouting at me, I can already see him. He's like this. I managed to get stopped by the only card-carrying member of the X19 Owners Club in the West Midlands Police. Not only did I get away from it, but he gave me a phone number of where I could get one of the missing center caps that was missing from the alloy wheel from. So
you got away with it then. You got away with your
Larry. Yes, one of my stories.
Car clubs are a strange thing. I'm a member of a vintage car club. It's international, but it's mostly American. And I'm the youngest member I'm the only British member, and I'm the youngest member by 31 years. 31 years. And it has over 1,000 people in it. It's yeah. So yeah,
You are only about 12 though. So.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, 12 millennia. That's right. Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Alan. Cheers. Tenders in a post. Love you.
Yeah, I don't want to be part of the Ford Owners Club because I just kind of imagine it would be just sort of yobbos. Yobbos with Fiestas. Just people who have bought like the Z-Tech S and then pimped it up.
You've got a sporty Fiesta, so you can't say it'd be like people with yobbos with Fiestas, but that is what you've chosen to drive.
There's a couple in my neighbourhood and I see them and they're Z-Tech S's, but they're pimped out. And I think, why didn't you just save your money and get the ST rather than the budget model? I don't know. Oh, but I did make a new friend during lockdown. Thanks to the dog, because walking the dog, I've tried to sort of take him different places just so it's not repetitive. And a guy was out on the drive cleaning his Nissan GTR, and then obviously I stopped and stared at it, and then we got talking. Turns out it's a 650 brake horsepower model of it, and now I've cost him $1,000 as he's bought sim racing equipment.
You talked him into it. So have you raced against him online yet?
No, he's not got the equipment yet. It's literally been the last couple of days. I didn't even make a commission.
Oh no, you need some affiliate links or something like that, Cammie, don't you? Sorry, Jess, I was going to say you held up a green when we spoke about owners clubs. Is that one you're still part of, or?
Yeah, I recently joined the Renault Zoe Owners Club. My first ever owners club for my electric car. Yeah, absolutely. Silent, calm yobbos.
Burnouts in car parks at night.
Yeah.
That's on a cheap rate.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Actually, Chris, did people see the awesome news today from Renault that apparently Luca Di Maio is the new boss? He's talking about producing a range of cars based on the Zoe platform and battery and motor that are going to be homages to the Renault 4, the Renault 5, and the Renault 16, allegedly.
There's good news and there's bad news, though, Neil. There's good news and there's bad news. You see, Alpine now are going to produce an SUV, and the Renault Megane Renault Sport is going to no longer exist. It'll be an Alpine SUV instead. There won't be a Megane Renault Sport. So there's good news and there's bad news of that.
Nobody's buying it anyway, so.
Yeah, I don't mind that, because as long as selling the SUV means Alpine can still make the sports car, it's the Porsche Cayenne argument, isn't it? You don't really like the Cayenne, but it pays for the stuff you do like. So I'm not so bothered about that. But I would like an electric Renault 16 though, if anybody wants to make me one.
Alan, what were you saying there?
I've forgotten. I was just saying that nobody was buying the Megane RS. I could go into why that is and why it's not selling in France, but that's really quite dull and to do with taxation rates, so I'm not going to bother.
Okay, leave that for the podcast, Alan.
Yeah, I've got a whole other 45 minutes I can waffle about that.
The same with the Peugeot GTI is dead now for the same reason, Alan. Won't be any more Peugeot GTIs of any sort.
Wow.
Ooh, I've got a question for the experts here when it comes to is Vauxhall technically a British brand, really? Because they market themselves heavily as, British brand. They have the British flag.
Over to Joe Tanner.
But they're Opals, and they're by General Motors.
It's a very clever word, isn't it, to say the word brand rather than company or product or anything like that. You're not committing to anything then. The brand is British.
I think brands have a nationality. It doesn't matter where the cars are built or whatever, but I think a brand can have a nationality.
Yeah.
I think it's the same. It's the same with Mini. They might be owned by BMW, but they're still built in Oxford. Rolls-Royce, Aston Martin, that they still have different owners. I mean, I still remember when I was actually working for Vauxhall. I just finished working for Vauxhall, and the news came out about PSA Group with Carlos Tavares taking them over. I'm in some respects, I'm so glad that I don't have to worry about being in the auto industry anymore from a dealership perspective.
But the Ford's the opposite of that, of course. Everybody takes Ford on board. Yeah, is Ford a British company or is it an American company? We all think of it as
Australian.
British.
It's Irish.
You see, point made.
Yeah, good point. Alex, I don't think I got round to asking you about your 2021 aims, goals, resolutions, that kind of thing.
Well, I am currently in the process of editing a quite a nice video about Altorstadt. I went to Wolfsburg actually in October. It's been on my bucket list for about 10 years to head to the home of Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda, Seat. And I was hoping that I would have enough time to actually, because I've never, since they all came out, I have never driven an EV.
Oh, okay.
And they had the ID3s sitting in front of Altorstadt. They had a load of other cars. They had the e-Golf as well. And I didn't have enough time. So one of my things on my bucket list when I go back over doing some road trips when I'm over working in Europe is an opportunity to book a test drive on a Volkswagen ID3 and see what it's all about. Because, you know, I've always had a love for technology, be it sort of smartphones, computers, laptops, whatever. But now with automotive technology accelerating and brands looking to be more carbon neutral these days, it's been interesting to see how that technology has developed, even though in some respects people consider it in its infancy. So that's one of the things on my bucket list for 2021. I think the other thing apart from that is to actually do some of my own car reviews, because sometimes when I go overseas, I'm flying somewhere, I then pick up a hire car.
Yeah.
And I actually did my first one last year, which was on a BMW 320i Touring, and it was the mild hybrid version with the 8-speed gearbox. And it was quite funny how I went to Munich airport twice within 2 weeks to the same circuit in Germany for karting commentary. And I got dealt with by the same bloke, and he said, "Oh, you're back. You said you were going to be back." Like the same bloke who served me on the first weekend in September served me 2 weeks later, and he said, "Oh, I've got some really good choices for you." And I said, "Okay, yeah." And I thought, well, let's see what he's got here. And he went, "Oh, Mercedes A-Class," because I think I booked a Golf. And I went, let's see what else he's got. BMW X1.
So Renault McGann.
I was like, wait, no. It was. I'll come on to something funny about hire cars in a second, Alan, which is quite funny. And that he went, BMW X1. Oh, he's got to have something. He's got to have a Joker card here. BMW 3 Series, and I went, "Yep, sold." And he like literally, I said, so I started asking him just like the usual questions. I said, "Is it automatic? Is it diesel? Is it a sedan? Is it a tourer?" And he went, "Not too sure. You'll find out." And I walked out, and it was it was the current generation. So just like the same generation of the 330 IM Sport that Colin Turkington and Tom Oliphant were using the BTCC last year. It was exactly the same grill. I got in, and I was like thinking, I've just been given the keys to a car that's about 35 grand, and I've only booked a Golf. Thank you, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, because they always tend to upgrade me. But coming back to what you were saying, Alan, with regards to Renaults, 2018, it was my first trip to Sweden. I'd never been to Scandinavia before in my life. So long story short, this is the quick abbreviated timeline. I was working at JLR in Ipswich. I said to everyone in the morning meeting, I'm leaving at 4 o'clock. I've got a plane to catch. I'm flying to Denmark, and I've got to drive to Sweden. Everyone else on the service reception desk buggered off. So I was on my own. Phone rang. So Muggins here had to take a 20-minute phone call with a customer complaint that wasn't my fault. It wasn't meant to be for me, somebody else. I had a bit of a 2 and 8 with the person who actually walked away from the desk, and I said, "Where have you been?" I said, someone should have stayed here because I was about to go. "Oh, really, really sorry about that." I said, "You better phone him back." So I had to wait until he made the phone call. I made him do it there as well. ran out the showroom, said, "See you all later, bye. I'll see you on Monday." Ran to the car. Got there a little bit speedier, I must admit, to Stansted Airport. Managed to get I managed to have a pit stop on the way, so quick change of clothes, got myself comfortable, made sure that I had all my documentation in my backpack, got to the terminal, went through security in about 5 minutes flat, got to the gate, and they said, unfortunately, the flight to Copenhagen is delayed by 45 minutes. And I just went, oh, really? I've just gone through all of that. So I had to phone my buddy who was waiting in Copenhagen at the moment. I said, flight's not left yet. We're waiting another 45 minutes. I get to Copenhagen, meet up with him. I then phoned the Enterprise branch in Copenhagen and said, we're just running a little bit late. The flight was delayed. She said, yeah, we're aware of it. We've got your car ready. And I get a Renault Captur 1.5 DCI Energy. And Renault on that particular car should have added a sixth gear, because I thought I was going into sixth. I nearly put it into reverse at 100 kilometers an hour. I
think Neil's got some experience by the looks of him.
I think he's had exactly the. So yeah, I mean, with regards to it, a few more road trips over into Europe for 2021, and just enjoying actually being able to travel and having that opportunity, because a lot of us haven't, as I think Craig said earlier on. You know, some people haven't been able to go to circuits. Mm-hmm. I have had the fortune of that. And I just want for people to be able to go back as fans to go and watch from the bleachers and the spectator stands and cheer on their favourites. But yeah, with everything that's going on at the moment, it's really, really difficult. There's an event that I'm meant to be going to in February. We're not sure if that's going ahead. There's just so much uncertainty, but I just want us to be through this, and just so we can all meet up and chinwag again, because I miss seeing people in person. That's the one thing on my list this year. I get to see so many people within the fraternities that I'm with, like say karting. It's very, very communal. It's very much like a family. But you know, it's just like I think the last time I saw Jess was I think it might have been, it was Autosport 2019. I think it was, Autosport 2019.
Did I see you in 2020?
No, Brands Hatch. Didn't you two meet each other at Brands Hatch? Because I met you.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. It was Brands Hatch at the brand finale for W Series, because Cammie, you got introduced to me by Charlie, and we have to say good luck to Charlie for more female races by Thrustmaster on the sim grid this evening.
We're missing
I'm actually one of so that's why she's not here, if you're wondering where our good friend Charlie Martin is, because I'm doing commentary with them now as well. It's funny how these things sort of interlink, but I think it's just like there's so many people. Like I've seen Cammie last year. Jess, I haven't seen you for a while. You know, I want to meet up with some of you guys, and when this is all said and done, I think it's definitely a group meet, and we're gonna have a good old chinwag in person. As much as this is so much fun here on ZoomZoomers, it's the next best thing, but it doesn't replace it. Having proper social contact.
Can we all have like matching hats when we meet up?
like Simon's one.
Yeah,
did you see Simon's one, Cammie, from last time?
No.
Have a look at the Christmas episode and look at Simon's hat.
Oh, I did see that on Twitter earlier on.
Yeah, it's a good one. But if we all meet up in person, you'll see that I'm not actually this orange. It's just the lighting in here that I need to have to get the background to work. But
I've got the opposite problem. He's stolen my warm colour scheme.
Right. Before we wrap up, obviously Joe's had to leave, so he waved goodbye. If you saw us all waving there, that was for Joe. Chris, last time you joined, you didn't get a chance to do a track day own scrap.
No, I didn't, because we did that Christmas gifts thing instead. So I've not done it yet.
So it's only fair that I give you the chance to do it, because everyone should have a go at the track day own scrap. So I'm just going to get it up in front of me. So again, if you guys can let me know if you see the track day own scrap wheel, and we'll quickly do this for Chris. So Chris, if you haven't seen this before, or if you don't know what's going on, I'm going to spin this 3 times for you. So you have 3 different vehicles. You don't have to pass any of these on. These are all for you, but you have to keep one. So you own. One you get to do a track day in, and that's it. And the other one you have to scrap. So we're going to spin it 3 times for you. Track day and scrap wheel for Chris Hughes. Your first vehicle is, as a fan of hot hatches, I'm sure you'll notice this one. It's a Lancia Delta Integrale.
Yep.
That's number 1. Your second vehicle is another red car, but quite different. This one is one of the McLarens. I'm sure someone will point out which one it is. I always forget. It may be a 650 or a 720. One of those. I'm sure it's very fast, whichever one it is.
I think it's a 570.
Is it a 570?
Yeah, I've done some artwork of them, so I think.
They are very
They all look
similar, aren't
alike.
They all look alike. And your third car, for the French fan in you, is the Renault Sport Spider. So track day, own, scrap with the McLaren, the Renault Sport, and the Lancia.
Okay. Well, I've always wanted to own one of those Renault Spiders. I think they're really cool. I did a little bit studying them when I did my degree in automotive design, and they've got a very clever chassis on them, aluminium chassis, which I'm sure Nia can tell us more about. But they've got a very clever aluminium chassis on them, which made them pretty expensive. So I'd probably keep that. I'd probably track the McLaren, because I reckon that would be good fun. And I'm sorry to say I'd have to scrap the Integrale. It was an early one. It wasn't an EVA or anything, so that's not so
We'll let you get away with that one then. So track day, there's going to be some horrified viewers and horrified Neil by looks of things, and Simon. Well, hey, if you didn't, Chris, if you didn't scrap it, it would just be scrapped somehow on the way to the track. If you decided to track day it, it probably wouldn't make it there, would it? So, so you're going to own the Renault Sport Spider and track day the McLaren, and then bin the Lancia.
Liquid yellow, Renault Sport Spider, no windscreen. Yeah.
Blocked and unfriended.
That was a tough one.
It was tough.
About the chassis of the Renault. they developed that chassis pretty much exactly the same time that Lotus was developing the Elise, and they were both based around essentially around aluminium extrusions. They were kind of in parallel, working on basically the same idea of making this aluminium chassis. The big difference between the two of them is that Renault just kind of assumed that you needed to weld it, and Lotus were asking the question, well, maybe there's another way.
They bonded it, didn't they?
Lotus bonded it, exactly. Lotus developed this whole kind of roof bonded thing. And that was really the only real difference between them. They were really very similar. It's very similar underneath to a Lotus Elise, and they were using the same aluminium supplier. It was Hydro Aluminium or something like that. Hydro. The same aluminium supplier, but they put it together differently.
So was it, the general consensus, was it the cost of the thing that meant it didn't carry on, or did Renault just want it to be limited, or what's the general reason for it not continuing like this?
They were left-hand drive only, weren't they? Don't think they were right-hand drives, or if they did, all the right-hand drive ones had the windscreen fitted and no roof, and then all the
right-hand drive came much later, I think. Yeah.
All the left-hand drive ones had no windscreen, no roof, no nothing. Which makes sense in France as a second car, but makes no sense at all over here.
I think it was one of those things.
Its biggest problem was the Lotus Elise, in the same way that the Lotus Elan's biggest problem was the MX-5.
Yeah.
I think the Renault was actually quite a bit more expensive than the Elise, and you needed to really want the Renault to pick it over the Elise, really.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, fantastic. Well, good choices there, Chris. It's sometimes it throws up some real dogs. I'm not sure if everyone here can remember. Alex, I'm assuming you did one back when you first came on. Did you?
No, I didn't. No, I haven't. I haven't. But
okay.
I think you're going to rope me in for one now, aren't you?
Yeah. You ready?
Go for it.
You've got to do one.
For it.
You got to do one. Hang on. I'll just get it back up again. If you guys could give us a nod when you can see it. Yep. Okay, Alex, 3 for you then. Oh, an Alpine.
Oh, the Alpine A110.
There you
original.
Go.
Oh, God. That's a hard one to start with.
Okay, so it's a Toyota Celica GT4. I believe it's the Carlos Sainz edition.
Yeah, with the
Proper
old
Carlos
pop-up
Sainz,
headlights, yeah.
not this new Carlos Sainz that Formula One's parading around at the moment. This is proper Carlos Sainz.
Alan has started drooling uncontrollably at that.
It's an
and the
ST183,
K2M7.
you know.
Oh, okay.
There you go. What was your first one again? What was?
It was the
Alpine
A110 that would have been, that's
310.
Yeah, that's the original one.
Yeah, is it 310?
I think it's a 310.
Yeah.
That one anyway. So the Alpine, the Caterham, and a Toyota.
Mm-hmm.
What do you reckon? Track day one, own one, and scrap one.
The track day one for me would definitely have to be the Caterham.
Okay.
And if I'm honest, the one that I would want to own, I'm going to have to say it, the Alpine.
Mm-hmm.
That the amount of heritage there. I mean, sorry, Toyota, as much as the Celica GT4, it was a car that I loved back in the 90s. I'm showing my age now here again as well. But it was a car that, it was one of the first cars that, the Toyota in terms of the look of it. And when you're, 14, 15 years of age, and you see a car like that, you're like, oh, that looks really good. But over time, you get to sort of really enjoy more of the retro, like the classics, and so the Alpine would be the one that I would own. The Celica would unfortunately be scrapped, as much as it would pay me to do so, and the Caterham would be the track car.
Fair enough. I don't think anyone can argue with that. I think what we might have to do is refresh these cars on the track day and scrap wheel. So I might do that for an upcoming one, because a lot of the people I'm looking at here, if they have that one, it's been a while ago now, so it might be worth having another go, maybe with some a few more rubbish cars in there, because sometimes it's a bit too easy for people, but we'll see. But anyway, has anyone got anything that they'd like to say before we roll it up for this month, or
your New Year's resolution?
Oh, my New Year's resolution. I you know what, I just getting out there. I need to see you guys. I need to get to track. I've got a good relationship with a couple of race drivers, and didn't get a chance to see them racing last year because of things went wrong. Actually, no, we got to see Rob Wellham. Cammie, you were there.
That was awesome. Yeah,
that was
the
awesome,
weekend at Snetterton. I just wish Jess could have come down. To be honest, that would have. If Jess could have come down to Snetterton, that would have made my weekend.
Yeah. I think we sort of said we'll be there, and you're like, oh, maybe I'll be able to make it. No, that was great, because he really just. Yeah, it's such a shame that he had such bad luck last year, because the two races that he actually finished, he dominated. So it was good to see Rob out on track, but I want to see more of that in this year. In terms of my personal cars, I've just got my Jaguar estate, and I'm happy just wafting along in that for the time being. I'm doing a bit of esports myself. I'm giving it a whirl. Actually, I was chatting to Alex earlier on, saying I wish I could give it a bit more time and attention, because I'd love.
That's the thing. Once you get reeled in hook, line, and sinker, then that's the start of the slope that a lot of people find themselves in. I mean, like some of the professional racing drivers have an absolute schlack load of gear. I mean, like they're spending tens of thousands of pounds. Where you got people like Cammie giving them something to think about in her setup. And I've had it where I'm going to mention this driver as well. Some people might know Piers Pryor. Sorry, I'm getting about I'm getting like so many Facebook messages, Instagram messages, even on something like this, it never stops. It's just like, come on, just leave me alone. I'm just wanting to have some chill time. But Piers Pryor, okay, he did the old Emanuele Pirro trick. Now, for anyone that might remember the race All-Stars, commentated on by, who was it? I think it was Sadakist and Jack Nichols. Well, Piers Pryor did an Emanuele Pirro. He had literally a set of pedals, a gaming PC, a steering wheel, a screen, and it was at Loughborough University, and he'd made up this sort of like makeshift driver setup with an armchair and a few 2x4s from B&Q, and he managed to make it work, and he was still competitive. So it goes to show that you don't need to break the bank to do esports.
No, exactly. Yeah, there's always something better. No matter how much you spend, there's always something better. So you're never going to be happy with it. That's what you've got to realize. So no matter where you start off, a steering wheel really does help over a control pad. There's that, but apart from that, just get into it and try it and have fun with it. And but it's I'd like to be able to do more. And hopefully, I haven't actually raced against Cammie, which is a real shame, because you just haven't had the chance to do that. But yeah, that'd be good. So yeah, for me, it's just seeing you guys in real life, get into a racetrack, get this all out the way, and do a bit more esports maybe. And so that kind of that's where I'm going to be for this year. And then hopefully we'll continue ZoomZoomers, whether there's a lockdown or not. Once a month we'll do this on the first Monday of every month, 8 o'clock. We need to change the logo. Richard, I might need to ask you to change where the number plate of the current logo shows BST, because that's obviously, we didn't expect it to go on this long, because we thought it was going to be a lockdown thing, and then it's carried on, and I don't think we'd like to see it go. So we'll keep it going, and as well as meeting here, one day we will all meet in the flesh. Near, I know you're thousands of miles away. Neil, many hundreds of miles away, and of course there's a few others dotted about as well, but we'll find a way of doing it. So I think we'll all look forward to that. It could be a show, it could be a track, it could be something like that, or it could just be us going, let's all just go to the pub. So we'll see if we stream it. When we do
a car show, I think it would be quite cool.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, some sort of maybe like a classic car show or something like that, or something. So yeah,
it might be a bit tricky for Nia.
Yeah, and it's going to struggle with this.
Don't be so sure. There's a lot of pent up traveling building up. As soon as the gates open, I'm going to be everywhere.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
We'll meet up in Caffeine and Machine or something.
Yeah, Caffeine and Machine is probably the obvious destination. It's quite central. It's obviously loads of things there to do and look at, and it makes sense. Great bunch of guys as well. I imagine a lot of you have already been to Caffeine Machine before, so may well be good. But for now, anyway, we're kind of obviously running 20:09. It's probably time to now say goodbye for another month, and hopefully, unless there's some major announcements on the first Monday of February, we'll do this again, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, live on YouTube, and of course you can always catch it afterwards as well. It'll be there forever, as long as YouTube still exists, and as are all of the previous ones. So if you want to catch up and see what other track day owned scrap wheels we did, what other red green questions we've done, we've had quizzes. Chris,
on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Exactly. Yeah, follow us everywhere. Help us get these numbers up as well, and then we'll be able to get some more content in, some more guests on, and all that kind of thing. That'd be fantastic. So until next time, though, for now, thanks everyone for coming along. Thanks everyone for watching along, whether you're watching along live or watching back, and we'll see you next